Well, our other main story this morning is that coalition forces have launched airstrikes targeting Islamic State leaders near their base in Mosul in northern Iraq. The US military says 10 armed IS trucks were destroyed, but it's unclear if the extremist leader, Abu Bakr Al-Baghdadi, was present at the time. Well, the United States Central Command said in a statement, this strike demonstrates the pressure we continue to place on the ISIL terrorist network and the group's increasingly limited freedom to maneuver, communicate and command. Well, let's cross live now to San Francisco, and we're going to speak to the National Security Analyst Arash Aramesh. Lovely to see you there, Arash. If these reports are true, how significant would this strike be?
If we, in fact, have hit a convoy that had within it members of the Islamic State's command and control, people in high command and high positions, well, that's very good news. And let me tell you why. There are rumors, but these are unconfirmed by the Department of Defense, that perhaps Abu Bakr Al-Baghdadi, the leader of the Islamic State or the caliph of the Islamic Caliphate, has been killed or severely injured. If that's the case, and ISIS has to go through a sort of round of succession, then there could be factions of the Islamic State trying to dominate one another to have their own leader become the leader of ISIS. And that's a good thing. It could lead to more weakening of the Islamic State. On the other hand, we really haven't done what we could have done in terms of putting the real pressure on ISIS in terms of airstrikes. For the most part, even though for the past 3 months we've been hitting ISIS via airstrikes, they've had some free hand in maneuvering, sending troops and vehicles from Iraq to Syria and from Syria back to Iraq. This air campaign could have been much larger and much more effective. Now, if in fact we've hit a convoy of multiple cars with leadership amongst them, that's good news.
Obviously, he's been hailed as one of the world's most wanted, similar to bin Laden then. You spoke there about some of the significance and implications of him being killed. Do you think it's likely that IS would admit to losing their leader?
Again, if he is dead, and I lost you for a few seconds, there was a bit of a problem with the connection. But let's say if he is in fact dead, there are two schools of thought here. One theory, which I certainly sign up to, would say that there's going to be more internal strife, as there was in 2006 when we killed Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, the leader of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, which significantly reduced Al-Qaeda's operational sort of utility in Iraq. But later on, there were other figures who emerged and led that organization. We're going to have the same thing in ISIS. Even if al-Baghdadi is killed, yes, that is going to deal a major blow to the organization. But let's not forget there are other commanders, both on the military wing and also in the political wing of ISIS, that can replace al-Baghdadi. This organization with one dead leader is not going to be finished. This is going to be a continued long-term campaign, not to just rid the region from ISIS, but from this ideology that creates organizations like ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram and the Taliban.
Arash, you mentioned there that the coalition forces have missed the opportunity to place real pressure, you said, on IS on the ground. Surely that needs a certain level of coordination with the Iraqi government and, of course, with the Peshmerga, because without that, the coalition don't actually know where to launch and focus these strikes on.
I would take a slightly different view on that. While our close ground support for the Peshmerga or for the Iraqi military requires their cooperation, hitting ISIS convoys, hitting ISIS trucks, tanks, armored vehicles being moved from Mosul, Iraq to Raqqa in Syria doesn't require Peshmerga intelligence. We have drones. We have airplanes that do reconnaissance. We have the most advanced military in the world that could independently run reconnaissance missions, and it has done that. The problem is with the problem of political will and how willing we are here in Washington, here in the United States, to take more aggressive measures against ISIS, knowing that there could potentially be collateral damage given how well this terrorist organization hides within civilian pockets and within the civilian population. So that's the big problem, not necessarily Peshmerga support or getting intelligence from the Iraqis. Clearly, we have the best recon teams in the world. We can do that. We can take out more of these cars, more of these trucks, and more of these convoys.
OK, Arash, we're going to leave it there for now. Thank you very much.